Hello, my loves. It is Scary Storytime Sunday, and I got my amigos here with me. We got Fredward, we got Fuckhead, and we got... I still haven't named this little bitch over here. I don't know. Put something in the comments. Something funny. Best one wins. Yeah, we'll do that. So, I've been talking the last few episodes about doing some serial killer stuff. Well, not actually serial killer stuff, but reading some serial killer stuff to you. That's what I meant, of course. So this is the Big Book of Serial Killers, an encyclopedia of serial killers. I actually thought it said 4 serial killers, and I about dropped the book on the floor. Oh my god. Anyway, I picked one, and I want to do some episodes. They're not going to be all in a row, but I want to do some episodes where we talk about some of the serial killers that weren't really covered in the media. You know, like not Ted Bundy, not Jeffrey Dahmer, not those guys. What the hell's the clown guy's name? Can't think of it. It's like right on the top of my head. But you know who I'm talking about. Anyways, I'm not saying I won't do those guys. I'm just saying I want to do some of the ones that weren't covered. Alright, let's get into it. So, Charles Albright, excuse me, got some issues here with my throat. He was born August 10th, 1933. His nicknames were the Dallas Ripper, the Dallas Slasher, and the Eyeball Killer. He's literally known as the Eyeball Killer. He had an obsession with eyeballs. I have an obsession with eyes, but not the whole eyeball. You know, it's weird. His characteristics were the removal of the eyeballs, which is weird. He had 3 victims, and his murder method was shooting, which is kind of weird, plain, whatever. I mean, for a serial killer, I'm not saying... You know what I mean. His known victims were Shirley Williams, Mary Lou Pratt, and Susan Peterson. God rest their souls. This crime location was in Texas, and he was sentenced to life imprisonment without parole. So Albright was adopted by Fred and Dell Albright after they discovered him in an orphanage. Fortunately for Albright, Dell was a school teacher, and he was able to jump 2 grades at school due to her diligence and help with his education. She was a strict parent, but also very overprotective. As a teenager, Albright began shooting small animals with a gun. Of course he did. That's how they start. And he did show some interest in taxidermy. Of course he did. And his mother, wanting to encourage him in his hobby, mother dearest, would help him stuff the dead animals. Yikes. So by the time he was 13, Albright had already been arrested for aggravated assault and was known to be a petty thief. Yet his accelerated education enabled him to finish school at 15 and enroll in university. Though he had planned to become a doctor, he was unable to complete his pre-med training. Probably because he was too fucking busy doing other things that he shouldn't have been doing, right? Bastard. He was arrested by police again at the age of 16 for theft, and this time he went to prison for a year. Upon his release, he enrolled in a teacher's college, majoring in pre-med studies, but he was thrown out of the college as soon as they noticed that shit was missing, and they found it in his possession. So, let me scoot a little closer to you. How you doing? Good. And, it was at this time that Albright embarked on a career in forgery. Now, how do you go from wanting to be a doctor to just be a total shithead? Like, just a POS, you know? What's going on up in that fucking head of yours? So, he created false documents showing he had attained both bachelor's and master's degrees, and he began forging signatures. You can't do that. No. He married his girlfriend from college, and they welcomed a daughter. Albright continued to forge checks, and while he was working as a teacher at high school, his forgery was discovered, and he was put on probation. So just another, little slap on the wrist for him. The couple divorced in 1974. Albright was caught stealing merchandise from a hardware store worth hundreds of dollars, and he was sent back to prison again. For 2 years this time. However, he was released after serving only 6 months for good behavior. Upon his release, he made friends with his neighbors, and he became a trusted babysitter. Holy fuck. For a lot of children in the neighborhood. During a visit to a friend's home in 1981, Albright was caught molesting their 9-year-old daughter. At court, he pled guilty and was placed on probation. Again, another slap on the wrist. What the fuck is with the justice system? Albright later said he wasn't guilty, but he just said he was to avoid the hassles. Okay. In 1985, Albright was living in Arkansas when he met a lady named Dixie, who quickly moved in with him. Before long, Dixie was supporting him and paying all of his bills. Of course she was. Early in the mornings, however, Albright would deliver newspapers. That wasn't all he was doing, though. Unbeknownst to Dixie, he was visiting local prostitutes. So, Albright's first murder took place on December 13th, 1990. The body of prostitute Mary Lou Pratt was discovered in the Oak Cliff neighborhood of Dallas. She had been killed by a gunshot to the back of the head from a .44 caliber firearm. And the victim was wearing only a t-shirt and bra, and both had been pushed up to expose her breasts. This guy was a real fucking creep. So Mary Lou's eyes were shut, and her face and chest were covered in bruises. When the medical examiner lifted her eyelids, he discovered that both of her eyes had been removed and taken from the scene. On February 10th, 1991, the body of another prostitute was found, and she also was almost completely nude. Susan Peterson had been shot once to the top of the head, once in the back of her head, and once in her left breast. What the fuck, dude? She was dead after the first shot. Her body was found just outside of the city limits of South Dallas. She too was missing her eyeballs. Shirley Williams was the third prostitute found dead in the area. She had been shot twice, once to the top of her head and then once in the face. Holy fuck, ow. She also had suffered a beating with multiple bruises on her face and a broken nose. Like the other two victims, her eyes had been removed. Fredward and this little shit over here, I wish they had, that jar of eyeballs, because they could use them. It's not funny. It's not funny at all. So, Albright was arrested and charged with 3 counts of murder on March 22nd, 1991. The trial started on December 13th, 1991, so it was a short trial. At first, it seemed the prosecution's case was going to collapse as most of the evidence was only circumstantial. However, there was also strong forensic evidence as hairs from the murder scene of Shirley Williams were matched to Albright. They quickly returned with a verdict of guilty, but only for the murder of Shirley Williams. The other two, they couldn't even tie to him. So his confession is what, but the trial, he was only charged for the murder of Shirley Williams, and he got life. He would spend the rest of his natural life in prison without the possibility of parole. So his trivial, facts: he removed the eyes from his victims, all whom were prostitutes. He was, they said, kind of a Renaissance man. He spoke fluent French and Spanish. He was a masterful painter and able to woo women by playing Chopin preludes on the piano or reciting poetry by Keats. So he was a ladies' man, a real piece of shit, and he does portraits. He paints portraits of himself and sells them from prison. If you look them up, they're kind of cartoony or whatever. I mean, I guess they're good. I don't even want to say a positive thing about this douchebag, but they're kind of good. It's creepy. It looks like the painting's eyeballs are literally looking at you. Like this fucking guy had an obsession with eyeballs. Anyway, I hope you guys liked the story. I got to keep it under 10 minutes here, so I only got about a minute. I'll read some more from this book occasionally. We'll just do random. And yeah, it's Sunday night. It's the beginning of a new week. I have a new song dropping tonight. It's called Got It Bad by Amber Ray. If you're not busy and you have a few free minutes, go and check it out. It's streaming on all platforms. Just wanted to mention that. And I hope you guys have a hauntingly beautiful week. And these guys say the same. They wish you the best. I will see you again later on this week. I'm hoping to drop a mini spook story. I haven't done one of those for a while. And yeah, if I don't see you then, I will see you next Sunday for Scary Storytime Sunday. All right. I love you guys.